Hello and welcome back to Julia at Home. Today I am talking about the Buckets and Berries curriculum. The lighting is weird and you may hear some noises. It has been raining here pretty much every day, but right now we've got some storms moving through and I think the worst of the last one is done, but I never know what's coming back through. So lighting and sound might be a bit off. I apologize for that. But today I am sharing with you this really cool curriculum. So I was actually kindly sent a free copy of the pre-kindergarten, their pre-K version of this curriculum. And I'm not being paid otherwise, but just to see if I liked it, and if so, to share it with you guys. So it looks like it could be a really good fit for us. And so we'll be trying it out this year. And I really wanted to share it with you before because I thought it might be a really good fit for some of you as well. And then throughout the year, I'll try to update you. This is a homeschool curriculum for pre-kindergarten or pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade. They have the 3 different levels. And it is inspired by Montessori and Charlotte Mason. It is not like the traditional Montessori curriculum. So I have many videos on this channel on the using the traditional materials and what they would do in a classroom. That's not what this is, but a lot of the activities are based on that like hands-on method that Montessori uses. It has monthly themes and includes activities and worksheets based on that theme for each month. And these include language and number, and there's some science activities in there, and I think some art ideas, and then there's always a book list for book ideas at the end. One neat thing about this curriculum is that I shared with you they have 3 different levels, and they have the same theme, just at different difficulty levels for each stage, if that makes sense. So let's say you have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and you've got your 4-year-olds doing pre-kindergarten and your 6-year-olds doing first grade this year. Well, you can have them both doing the same theme, but with work at their own level that month. So I hope that makes sense. That is a really cool aspect of this curriculum. Right now they have 1 full year of themes, so a theme for each month of the year. And I believe their intention is to add more years with different themes so that you don't have to repeat the same themes. So let's say then the following year you want to do the kindergarten with that preschooler. You don't have to go through those same themes over and over again. So I believe that's what they're working on. I'm not sure. It seems like it's a lot of work to put together, so I'm not sure exactly when more will be out, but I think that's their intention. It is a digital curriculum that needs to be printed out, and I think they do have like a printer that you can use that will give you a discount on it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. I tend to print things out at home, so I'm going to be doing that. But a heads up that this would be a lot of printing, so just keep that in mind. They do have really good information at the beginning as to how they suggest you set up the materials and schedule you could work with. They have ideas like questions to think about as far as setting your own homeschool schedule for what will work for your family. And then they have notes on some of the subjects. One that I really appreciate is they talk about using the phonetic sounds of the letters, which is something that I think is really important in teaching kids to read, and I honestly don't think it's talked about enough. So I have mentioned this on my own channel, but when I'm teaching my children to read, I do like to use the phonetic sounds instead of the names of the letters. So I'm going to show you 1 month. I printed it out and stuck it in a 3-ring binder for right now. There are a lot of it that's going to need to be cut out later that I'll show you. But I just wanted to give you a view of what a month looks like and the variety of activities. And I chose November, and the theme is turkeys, and I thought that was really fun. So let's take a look. So here we are, Buckets and Berries. Now again, this is the pre-kindergarten curriculum, and they also have kindergarten and first grade. I will be using these materials mostly with my 4-year-old this year. She'll be doing pre-kindergarten, so that will be perfect. I do have a 2-year-old. I don't know if some of them might work for him. We'll just see how it goes. I did print this out. I started to print another one out as well, and then I quickly realized that they won't all fit in a binder. So I'm going to, it might need to be multiple binders. We'll figure it out. A lot of the stuff will need to be cut out. So I'm going to need to find a good storage solution, and I'll let you know maybe later once I figure that out. But I did put the title page in here, so it would just be easy to find. Okay, so again, this is November. You can see down here, November turkeys and food groups. And it has a table of contents for the month. It has what materials you'll need. and it has November goals. So this is so that, especially if you're a newer homeschooler and you want to make sure that you're getting to everything, like I feel like for newer homeschoolers, you really want to make sure that you're getting to everything, that you're not missing something, and that you're moving forward. And so that might be really helpful for this, but it also tells you kind of what they're targeting in this. Now, one thing I will say is that I very much go at my children's pace, and we probably actually move slower, especially in the early years at this point, than other families may. So some of this is actually a little bit beyond where my daughter is. But the beauty about this is that you can just use what works for you, and that's what I will be doing. And then these activities you could use like later. You don't have to just stick with that month. So if there's like a counting activity that maybe they're not ready to count up to that number yet, but they are a couple months later, or even next year, you can bring it back around. There's a pretty wide time period where a lot of these things would be useful. So I'll put that out at the beginning. So let me just go through here. The first thing is matching turkeys, and it tells you a scissors here. So you're going to need to match these out, and they're just matching cards. And it gives you the directions. So for these, they want you to cut out the pictures and place them in a small basket on the child's work shelf. So about the first half of the month here are activities like that, where you'd put it on a tray or a basket and on a work shelf for the child. And that's really like the Montessori-inspired part of this. These ones also look like the pictures are different sizes, so that's another way for the children to decipher the matches. And honestly, it'd probably be best to print this on cardstock and or laminate it. I'm not sure that I already printed these on this here, so we'll just try to be careful with it. But that would give it more longevity, and if there's some that I think will get more use, like the train one. I know my littlest guy really loves trains, so I might actually, print those out on cardstock and laminate some of those so that I know that they'll be ready for him as well. All right, now these are a food group activities. So it's got labels and pictures, and it'll want you to put them in columns underneath. Now, most kids at this age aren't reading all of this. Mine certainly aren't. And so it's color-coded, and so you could tell them which color is which and do it with them. I mean, that's always an option. And often what I do, at least the first time, is I'll do it with them, and then they can do it themselves afterwards. And it's also color-coded here. Like these are vegetables. These are fruits. I think this is it meats? Is that the category? And grains. And I think treats or sweets. Ooh, pumpkin pie. And dairy. So that was that one. This one is food chain. I think this one's fun. There are actually two different ones here. So the different size pictures are different puzzles. And what I might do with these ones, especially being so small, is I might actually put them on back them onto a piece of cardstock, a different piece. So, and for most of these, you're going to have to talk through it with your children. So you can, this is designed so that you can just leave it for your child to work independently. But in a Montessori classroom, a lot of these things are presented first, and then the child is allowed to explore it themselves more later. Oh, so there's places for you to put, so this matches with the bigger ones. There's 4 here, and I believe there's 6 of the smaller ones. And I think on here is the order it would go in, right? So the plant uses the sun for food. That's a monarch caterpillar, uses the milkweed plant for food. And then this bird, which I don't know what it is, but it's cute, eats the caterpillar. And then this bigger bird eats this bird. And then the fungus gets to eat the decomposing bird material. So this is clearly science as well. Now these are 3-part cards. And at this age, I do just have them match the pairs. I don't have them necessarily reading it. But if you have slightly older children, or if you want to save it for an older child, it can be used for reading activities as well. And it may be that in their first grade curriculum, which I haven't seen, but it may be that they have the full 3-part card so that you're actually reading it as well. The third part would be just the word. So in a 3-part card set, if you're doing it for reading, there would be like these parts would be separate and they'd have to match them. And then there'd be another set with it combined so that you could check it. I have several of those, but I thought this was fun. I actually don't think I know all the parts of the turkey, so we'll learn together. Now this is making numbers. It has you using, it has numbers and rods here. Now if you have other materials, so I actually do have the number rods, and I also have some smaller rods, I think somewhere that I got from somewhere. But there's also a lot of different manipulatives that you can get that can be rods, so you don't have to use this, but this way you don't have to buy anything else for this activity. If you don't have the rods and the units, you can just cut these out. But there's a lot of math manipulatives out there that you can find something like this for. Market time. All right, I think this is super fun. Okay, there's his market. So it says next step this month is to teach them how to count the correct number out. So again, you can adjust the difficulty to the level of your child. I think mine will really like this. All right, how many feathers? So it has these turkeys with numbers, and then it has feathers. These are the feathers that you can cut out. Now, I actually do have feathers, and they're like fall colored feathers that I've had for years with my Montessori supplies. So I would probably just cut out the turkeys and then have them add the like actual feathers. So you can adjust to what you have. But again, you don't have to buy something. It is here for you to cut out and use if you would like to. Now, this is a turkey match. So there's matching pairs with the numbers. Oh, so the numbers and the dots. So you'd have to find, the 5 matching with the 5 dot. So how many turkeys? Oh, how many feathers? Okay. So, oh no, how many turkeys? Okay, so you would, what it says is there's a farm. Let me find the farm here. So there's a farm. Oh, that's pretty. And then you put the number here. So let's say we did like 6. Then we would need to take out 6 of these turkeys and put it there. That looks like a fun activity. All right, so what time is it? I am not sure that my child will be ready for this at that time, by the time we get to this, but this can be used later. Like this is actually not even themed. So I'll probably just save this for when we get there, because it's a good exercise there for when you're doing clock. Building with triangles. So this is similar to, there's actually Montessori materials that are different triangles, or you could get tangrams. It's similar to that, but not quite. But again, you can just cut these out and then have your child try to make these. I honestly think my daughter's going to love this. She loves doing this kind of thing. Okay, so looking through, it looks like they have a variation of this activity for different themes. So I'm going to try to explain. I'll read it and try to explain here. So you're doing it with, okay, so this goes with pictures, okay? And all of the pictures have the k sound. That's what we're working on right now. So we're not calling it k, we're calling it k. Not even k. You're not supposed to do that, but k. That's just it's kind of hard to convey over the camera and sound. But for example, donkey, the k sound is in the middle of the word. I think all of these, they're in the middle. Let's see, so key, kangaroo, these have the k at the beginning of the word. And here, lock, milk. I think this is supposed to be black. So that will have it at the end of the word. Here it's pointing to beak. So here you have a picture of a turkey, and you have pictures of the beginning, the middle, and the end. So you'll probably have to explain that to your child. I think some might pick it up easier than others. I'll see how my daughter does. But I do think it's a fun activity. So you would then, the pictures of the words that start with the beginning, like key and kangaroo and ketchup here, would go in a column under the one at the beginning, and so on. Hopefully that makes sense. They even say here, careful, do not say k when making the k sound. There's no in the letter k. So there you go. Yeah. So they have helpful tips here, and I appreciate that. If you have questions, please let me know. I sometimes am not sure if I'm explaining things adequately here. Okay, now there seem to be letters in here. Okay, So these all go together. I'm going to try to explain these. It says to make the turkey pouches below, cut the rectangles, fold on the dotted line, and staple along the edges, leaving the top open. Place the pictures and letters in the corresponding pouches. So you would make pouches out of this, and it's for the letters A, T, and I, or S-A-T-I, as you may know them. And so you'd put those letters as well as the pictures that begin with those letters in there. So like apple begins with A, egg begins with E. Yep, so it's got different ones here. And my guess is that they're supposed to match. I believe that's what's happening. I don't know if there's any more explanation there. Nope. It seems that they should try to match the letter of the beginning sound to the picture. One thing I will know, everything in here is in print. So you may have seen, I actually teach my children cursive first. However, generally what I do is I teach cursive for writing and print for reading. So she will very quickly be also learning to recognize the print, and she's also just exposed to a lot of print. So I think it's fine with especially these kind of reading and matching activities for me to do it this way. I also do all lowercase, but this is something that I would give to her and then help her out with it. And she might not be ready for all these letters when we get here. And I'm trying to give you a flip through so you can see how it'll work for your family. I always adjust curriculum, whatever it is, to my children, to myself. So I will be adjusting some of these. Some of these I might not use a few of the activities in, or I might save them for later, or I might adjust them. But that's something I will talk about when I do them later. So, okay. These are pretty. Look at all the fruits and vegetables. So it wants you to put these on bags and have the children collect things that start with that sound in the bag. And they have a suggestion that if it cannot be placed in the bag for a whole month, suggest drawing a picture to leave it in the bag instead, which I think might have to be done with quite a few objects. So this is, can you use corn to make a few letters for the turkey's dinner? Cute. I actually have corn right here. It's not purposeful, but I've been decobbing and taking corn kernels. This is popcorn we grew last year. So I think the idea would be, let me just... Oh, this is a little tricky. Okay. I think the children would probably do this bigger. Does that look a little bit like an A? It might be easier with bigger corn. Anyway, I think that's the idea to make some of the letters. Okay. Another thing you can do with things like corn, or I had to do it with salt and such as is have them trace it on a tray. You wouldn't have this much in there for that, but okay. So that's that. So they also have a version of this for different letters and sounds, it looks like, in the different months. And so the idea with this one is you're practicing that first letter and what it says. So each time you tap a dot, they want you to say the letter. So this is a k, 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 kite. And this is a k, 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 kids. I guess it's kids, like, you know, not a kid. Okay. And they tell you what everything is here so that you're saying the right words. So you may remember, I'm going to just go back to show you. At the beginning here, it did tell you what letters they were focusing on. So those are the letters you're going to keep seeing in here. So there's k, h, which is h. I don't know if you can hear me if I say it correctly. R. These are all ones that are harder. You don't want to add the sound, but it's really tempting. R. That one's easier. D. Oh, look at the little deer. D, 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 deer. Okay, we've gotten that. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's a letter match. You're matching the capital and lowercase. And then they are giving you handwriting slips so that you can match them and also practice writing the letters. Okay, so it has you cutting out the pictures and, oh, there's puzzles. Okay, also this might be the corn to use in other places as well, so you don't have to actually physically have corn. I just happen to have some, but that might be easier to make things with. These are bigger. So these are the puzzles. I've seen these before. I mean, different pictures, but I've seen this kind of thing before. Basically, you're just cutting it out and cutting on the line, and then they put it together. And, you know, each one corresponds with a number. So they can either put it together by seeing the picture or by the number order. And then this is suggesting that you use the corn here, or this corn, to put the right number under each. So it'd be like 1 kernel here and 2 here. Now this is cut out and you're doing this presumably at a table or on a work rug, which is easier than trying to fit them on this piece of paper. Okay, and there's the other one. That looks yummy. It's making me hungry. Okay, now we're working on rhyming words. Rhyming is an important skill for this age to work on, and it specifies here. So you're matching things that rhyme. And you're probably going to want to tell your child what these stand for, because turkey's not going to rhyme with this. And so you're going to want to tell them. It also notes that rhyming sets are the same size, so that helps them do their own correction of error. And they have a note that if you have siblings doing older versions of this work, they have more rhymes. So make sure that you're not adding too many for the younger child. And it is difficult for this age. They're also mentioning that. So with all of these things, like, children develop at different rates with different skills. So, you know, don't stress yourself or your child out. This is herd, bird, and third. Let's see, creek, beak, and peak. Oh, see, I was going to say bird here, but it's ring, wing, and sing. Leg, egg, peg. Yeah, they would not know that that's a peg. So you're going to have to tell them, these are really pretty eggs. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. Trap the turkey. All right, so it says cut out the picture, and then you're going to fold on the dotted lines and tape so it makes a standing figure. Can you picture that? You're like making like it's like a mini pyramid type thing like that. You're challenging the child to use toothpicks and gumdrop candies to create a trap around the turkey. So it's kind of a fun activity. And there's a book that you can try to, if you can find it, you can use to go with it, How to Trap a Turkey. So with the last one and this one, we seem to be in more like activity time. This is experiment time, so some science in here. And this is heating up milk. They're matching it to the 7 silly eaters. I think I'd have to, I think you're heating them up at different levels. So using thermometer. Let's see. Oh, you're putting a raw egg and a boiled egg in vinegar. This could be a fun one too. We're doing chemistry with my 5th and 3rd grader. So I wonder if I can make this fit into that as well. But anyway, I think my 4-year-old would have a lot of fun with this one. Oh, we've tried to do this before. So this is one where you're like touching bread with your hands as they are, clean hands, touch the floor, touch a doorknob. And then you put it in bags and you see what bacteria spreads. Now, I tried this when we were doing a germ unit and it didn't really work. So I think what I would do, trying it again, is do it with my own bread, because I don't have as many preservatives in the bread as they do at the store. So I may try that and see if we can get some bacteria growing on there. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Okay, so this is showing how germs spread using a glitter and lotion. Now, I won't be doing this way because I let them use glitter in February for Valentine's, and so we're not using glitter again for a while. I really try to be a cool mom and let them do a lot of art and crafts, but there are a few things. When I spend months cleaning it up, it's going to take me a while before I do that again. Okay. Oh, this is cool too. So this is apple slices and noticing what happens to the apple slices. Okay, so this is an experiment, but what it is it's mixing colors. So it's really kind of art. As you do blue, yellow, and then mixing blue and yellow. Blue, red, mixing blue and red, and then yellow, red, mixing red and yellow, and then you can glue them on the turkey. Okay, so these are building words. Now for me, this is something that will probably have to wait because of where my daughter is in the reading, writing lessons. So here I can build the word pair. Now you could use like movable alphabet letters, or as it says here, you can cut letters out of a magazine. If you are doing logic of English, maybe with an older child, the foundations, and you have the letter tile set, those would work. There's probably a variety of different things. Magnet letters for the fridge. You could use any of those kind of things. Then it says I can draw a pair and I can circle the pair. So I can have my daughter draw and circle it. But I don't think at this point, I'm nearly certain from where we are that we won't be ready for writing it yet. It's also kind of a tricky word to write, so I don't know if I would start with writing these ones, to be honest. Lemon might be a better one to start with because it, I think, is phonetic. Yeah, it's all phonetic, but it's kind of long. So, okay, now this is a matching game. This one's fun. So I think starting after the experiments here. Sorry, let me just back up a minute. After the art one, here. Ooh. We're kind of onto more of the worksheet portion of it. So the back, I don't know, half or so, maybe not quite half, is more worksheets that your child can do on their own, and you can just have them write on this, or you could put them in like one of these plastic dividers and have them use dry erase markers. That's an option. So these are generally black and white. So these are matching the like shapes of the tops and the bottoms of the fruit. So I think all these match these, like, so you do the lines to them. And here you're finding the shadow versus the drawn out fruit there. You're sorting fruit and vegetable. So you can cut these out. It might also, depending on the age and abilities of your child, you could have them cut these out. Okay. So there's more letter activities in here that I may have to wait on a little bit longer, but here they're tracing and then writing this just because of where my child is and because we start with writing cursive. Pumpkin pie. Okay. So these are all, turkey and food related. There's an alphabet maze in this one. So this is just reading, so she may be able to do this one. I might just see where she is and which letter she knows at this point. But it looks like you're starting here and following the k down to the king. That's just a coloring page for k with a kite. It's another one for heart. R is for red. Mouse. Ooh, is also for macaroni. You can glue macaroni in for your mouse to eat. Dog. You could do, I don't know if you have those dot paints. Those are super fun for preschoolers. All right, now here you're circling the words that start with duh. This is the kind of thing that I absolutely love for reviewing the sounds. Cut, match, glue, and try. So I guess you're cutting these out, gluing them down here, and then trying to write them, I think. So you're like matching the capital and the lowercase and then writing it yourself. More writing. Apples are really cute. Writing here. So again, these are things I can save. I can save till later. This is the number dots. What are these called? Connect the dots. So connect the dots. Ooh, peppers. Okay, lemon. All right, so here we're tracing numbers, counting to 3. So you're supposed to color that many. I guess color 1, color 2, and color 3 blocks. This reminds me of the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Also, so here you're counting the number of pumpkins and then writing it. So that might be a little difficult, but again, it depends. Totally depends on the child. Also the concept of zero. There's a special material I use for specifically teaching that. That's fun. More pumpkins here. Okay, so there's different images, so you have to find, like this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think some of these play to different strengths, so I think the difficulty level for different children are going to be different based on these different activities. And you may not know until you get there. Like, honestly, I'm not sure whether this is going to be easy or difficult for my 4-year-old. So we'll find out, because I like that. That's cool. Oh, this is using a ruler. Oh, she'll love that. She sees her big sister and sometimes her big brother use rulers in their math sometimes, and they always want to be like their big siblings, right? Ruler for the crops. Now, this also reminds me, I mean, these are designed so the child can do these worksheets on their own, but you could also work with them and actually measure, like if you had a carrot you were doing for dinner. That could be fun too. This one, you're measuring the rectangle here, also using the ruler. Oh, and then we're talking about shapes. Rectangle. So it looks like so they cut out these, and then these match to the middles of these, it looks like. That's interesting. I haven't seen anything like that before. This is the same, except it's vertical. Okay, so this is talking about patterns. So this is having them make a pattern with the different colors, coloring them in. And, oh, yep, doing this time with rectangular prisms. I like that they're using the real name. That's a very Montessori thing to do. When we learn the shapes and the geometric solids, we learn that it's a rectangular prism. Okay. Oh, and this one they probably need some help with too. They're connecting this to the food chain. So you can have them read it to them, and it says you can draw each of those things on here. Oh, making pumpkin pie. It's a recipe for you in here. I love pumpkin pie. I'd probably, well, you know what? I don't know if I have a recipe that I 100% love, so I would try this and then see. This looks like a pretty classic recipe here. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you probably know that I have my own garden here, and so one of my favorite things to do around the fall time is to make my own pumpkin pie using my own pumpkin, and I always make my own pie crust from scratch. I got into baking pies a lot when we moved here to Vermont. It just felt like a very Vermonty thing to do. Anyway, that was kind of a aside how I want pumpkin pie. Okay, so these are, you color it in by the number, which is a really good idea for this age group. If you're learning to recognize the numbers, that's awesome. Just a coloring page. My kids all have always loved coloring pages, like any age. I mean, I'm pretty sure that my 10-year-old will still do coloring pages, so. Oh, that's a really pretty, I want to do that one. See, apparently it's not just my kids, it's me too. Those are really pretty. And these I might actually make copies of these for several children. But these I'm really hoping will be great for when I'm working with other children. So I'm hoping to be able to spend a few minutes on most school days with my 2-year-old. And so I'm going to need to keep her occupied, the 4-year-old, while I'm doing that. And then I also do, logic of English lessons several times a week with my, he's going to be in 3rd grade this year. And so I need things that will keep her occupied, and the 2-year-old as well. But especially the two of them need to be occupied with something while I'm doing things. All right, and so then it has extension activities here. So songs, it mentions that you can check YouTube. Let's see. Oh, Stregonona, we'll have to see. Hopefully our library has that. If not, I might get that because we don't have it. That's a classic. The 7 Silly Eaters, I don't know that one, but there you go. Take a field trip. We may or may, I have to see if if we can go to a farm in November. We do try at least once a year to go to Shelburne Farms near us. They have a children's barn. It's wonderful. We usually go during the summer. I'm planning we'll probably go in September this year because we haven't gone yet this season. And we'll be doing this in November, so I should see if they're still open. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Okay, And then it's got a reading list here. Oh, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. See, one of those pages made me think of that. Stone Soup. I have a different version of Stone Soup. There's lots of good versions of it. And I don't know some of those. Oh, I do like Amy Krause Rosenthal. I have a couple of her books and I love them, so that's fun. This shows them doing some activities here. Oh, isn't that so cute? So cute. All right, that is our flip through. So there's 12 of these. I mean, I'm forgetting exactly how much the curriculum costs right now. I'll try to put it here on the screen. This is just 1 month's worth of stuff. Now, you do have to print it, so you'll have to factor that in. That'll make it cost a bit more, whether you get it printed or you have to, you know, use the paper and ink yourself. But I think for the amount of work they clearly put into this, like you don't even need to get other things. You don't have to be doing other curriculum with your preschoolers. So I think this is great. I can give you a quick peek here just because I printed some of it, that this is August and this is trains. So I'm going to be working on preparing some of these activities, probably when I'm done filming today, hopefully. Let's see if we can work on that a little bit. Yeah, as I mentioned, my 2-year-old loves trains, so he might be doing some of these. Like, I bet he could do these matching ones as well. Oh, there he is. So that was the flip through of the November monthly theme for the pre-kindergarten curriculum of Buckets and Berries. I think they did a really great job with it. I think there's a lot in there that I'm going to use, and that was just 1 month. Their website is linked in the description box below. It's not an affiliate link. This is not sponsored, but she did send me the pre-K curriculum for this year for free. So I do really appreciate that. And I wanted to make sure to share it with you before we used it, because I know some of you out there, it seems like it might be a good fit for you as well, and I wanted you to see it before the year starts. I am planning on showing you more of how I'm using it, as well as what other activities we're doing with my pre-kindergartner as well as my toddler. I'm hoping maybe like a monthly what's on our shelves, like what's on our work shelves kind of thing. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in the comments below. If you got this far in the video, I hope you liked it, and do give it a thumbs up because that helps me out. We are almost done with our curriculum series here. 1 more tomorrow, so I will see you then. Bye, friends.